Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about this 400 amp breaker. These are the ones we're going to be using at our 2.2 megawatt mining farm. It's an ASIC farm, but you can use them for GPUs. So I'm showing you guys around this breaker, kind of going over some of the details on it, how we set it up, how we plan on using it. So if you think that's interesting, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to set up an ASIC or GPU mining farm, such as this one here, this one's being worked on. I'll actually show you where the breaker is installed here. Here he is. This one's ready to go. Well, not yet. Got to run the copper, but after that, it's going to be ready to go. Similar setup can be done at your property, at your location, your state, city, wherever you want to run your farm. And this farm here is 2.2 megawatts, almost done. You see our fence installed, barbed wire, running our security system here soon, and various other things. But pretty much it's almost done. So if you want to do that, go to cryptollc.org. We set up farms in any state, any country, from start to finish. You don't have to have a property. You can just have a piece of land, or maybe you don't have any land at all. We can help you find that perfect property that has those megawatts available. You can buy that, and then we can build on it and set everything up and manage everything for you. So go to cryptollc.org. Before we get started, Bitcoin saves your wealth, and Jesus Christ saves your soul. All right, so this breaker here, this is an Eaton breaker. You see the model number there, PD G3. It's got various settings you can set for it. Some more information right there. Try to focus on that. There you go. It is a breaker that runs at 416. So basically, this is not a 240 breaker. It runs at 416. That means that each leg is 240. 240, 240, 240, each leg. And 400 amps. So how many watts can you put on this breaker? It's about 280,000, plus or minus about 280,000 watts. 400 amps. Each leg is 240. If you combine both legs, it's 416. Very, very powerful breaker. And you can put a lot of miners on this guy. You take a miner, let's say an average miner consumes about 3,000 watts. This one can support 280,000 watts. So a lot of miners you can put on him. Now I'll show you guys around this miner. So here's the side of it. Nothing much going on here, just some factory stickers. Go to this side over here, same thing. Nothing much. Just some information, factory stickers. You do have some etched on, no, maybe it's not etched, kind of drawn on information there about voltages and all that stuff. At the bottom we have our actual hookups here. So this area is where you plug in your copper. So we're running 4-aught copper, and it's parallel run, and these breakers are set up to accept parallel run, which means you're running 2 sets of wires. One goes in here, and then one goes at the top. So this is A, B, C, so you can put 2 A's, 2 B's, and 2 C's. And the reason why you do that is because you want to save copper. If you just ran 400 amp capable copper, it's going to be really thick, it's going to be really expensive. It's cheaper to run two coppers at half the thickness. That's cheaper to do it that way. You'll save on copper costs, right? So that's why you want to do parallel runs. Anyway, they then hook up to the back of the breaker. You see right here, it's the back of the breaker. Feeds into, again, these pieces of metal right here. So the power is then traveling through this block, goes into that metal, goes into the breaker. Breaker is sensing if anything is over 400 amps or senses some kind of incompatibility, something's drawn off the electricity flow, and then it will trip the breaker if something's drawn. And that's what you want this guy for, right? You want it to trip if something wrong with the 400 amps. At the top we have the connectors for the bus bar. So again, we have three pieces of metal coming out of the breaker on this side, again, A, B, C phase. And then we're using these bus connectors. So this is a bus connector. It's just pieces of special metal that has high conductivity. We then connect these 3 to the bus bar. And I'm going to show you over here on this breaker. And you can see them connected right there. 1, 2, 3. And they connect to this. This is what it's going to be. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. And then that is then run through the panel, and then you plug in your breaker. Say you plug in a 3-phase breaker right here. So then A, B, C will then go into the breaker. Then you load up that breaker to the PDU. Or if you want to run just a single phase, there are single phase breakers. Actually, there's one right over here. This is a single phase breaker. So this guy is currently plugged into A. If I go down one, it's going to be B. If I go down another one, it's going to be C. So right now, whatever I put on this breaker will then be loaded on A phase. And A phase is this first one right here. So if I put something on that 20 amp breaker, it's actually going to be drawing power from this side of the breaker. So if any of these go over 400 amps, then this breaker should trip. Now they don't really trip exactly at 400. They can trip at like 420. But basically, it's detecting if it's too hot, if the copper is too hot. I think that's how these ones work. I do not know for sure if it's actually thermal based or not. Most likely they are. A lot of the breakers we use at our other farms, they are thermal based, meaning that when they get too hot, it's actually when they trip. This one, most likely that's how it's also run. Then what else we have is we have this piece of paper here. It's a protective piece of paper. I don't really see a point to it because when you screw this onto the bus bar, they'll never touch. They're literally screwed onto the bus bar. But for some reason, the manufacturer of this breaker sends out this piece of paper here. It's protective so that they don't touch, which they never will. Let me show you again over here. You see, once those nuts are on, they'll never touch in a trillion years. It'll never ever happen. Also screwed there, 1, 2, 3. It'll never happen. They'll never touch, but for some reason they send this in and whatever. We attach that strip of paper. All right. So yeah, so that's the breakers we're going to be running. So we got a total of, for 2.2 megawatts, we have 3 in this container. We have 3 in the other container on the other side. And then we have 2 in that container over there. So it's a total of 6 plus 2. So we got 8 of these breakers. And then if you take 8 and you times it by around 280,000 or 287,000, somewhere around there, comes out to 2.2 megawatts. So there you go. Well, hope you guys liked the video. You know what to do. Hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and go to cryptollc.org if you want to set up a GPU or ASIC mining farm. Bitcoin is about $30,000 right now. It can go up any day, any second, and your window of opportunity will be closing. So if you wanted to set up an ASIC farm now, it's the best time to do it, because who knows what happens to Bitcoin. It can just pop up to 40K, immediately. And then after that, the miners' prices go up and building a farm goes up and all that stuff. And it's going to be harder to get breakers and harder to get specialized equipment that you're going to be requiring for the farm. So it's better to do it before that pop. And that's going to be it for this one. Until next time, bye.